It shouldn't be are black people speaking up for Asians, or you only care when it's about you? No. Stop white supremacy. Like that is not the conversation. It's stopping white supremacy. So now we're the bad guys. All of a sudden, the black community has become the bad guys in the situation for not speaking up loud enough, rather than the people who are causing the harm. And it's just disheartening. It's like, I'm tired. Now I got to fight for not fighting. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-host Buff and Razi. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
What's up, y'all? My name's Razio, and I ain't shit. Okay. So I just want to throw that out there. I was talking to one of my homegirls, and she was just kind of complaining about dudes in general, and how she wants a good man, but what she's kind of been running into with like dudes kind of talking and laughing and kiki in the DMs for a week or two, and then it just kind of trails off, or she gets interested and they like pop up. So these new age terms, and they call it like ghosting and submarining and all of that stuff. And she was talking about dudes that do that. And as she was talking about it, and she was like, these dudes ain't shit. And as she was kind of talking through that, I was like, she's really describing me, because I do a lot of that. Like, and it's because of what I went through, and I'm still grieving and everything like that. I'll initiate conversations, not really even on no like shooting my shot type stuff, but I'll initiate conversations and it'll last like a week or whatever. And then it just kind of like, I'm like that dog from Up. I'm like Squirrel, and just like look somewhere else, and it's like, okay, I don't talk to him no more. So ladies, I don't mean to ghost. I don't mean to submarine. I don't mean to be doing that. Like, I truly am just like having conversation or whatever, and that's it. But I can see how it could be misconstrued as me not being an nigga, or me being a shit nigga. So wow. I just want to throw that out there, that I don't mean to be that way.
Well, bro, in your defense, we're best friends for a reason, and I've been out the game for a long, long time. So as I remember, it's not necessarily that you ain't or I wasn't. It was just the fact that our attention spans are very short. And I literally, in the middle of my, I guess, ghosting, I literally forget about chicks. Like, I was just like, it's like, I should be calling somebody. I just don't remember who it is. It's just like, it's not you, it's me. My attention span wasn't long. You are very picky. You're very shallow. You get annoyed very quickly, and you just move on. And I mean, it's not a problem though. I mean, you save yourself from a lot of heartache, pain, and annoyance, and you just keep moving on. Ladies, if he moves on, you save yourself. Just take it with a grain of salt and keep on trucking. Razi, you aren't. I just want you to know that, but it's not your fault, bro. It's not your fault.
Whose fault is it, man? If it's not,
it's society, bro. This too is because of slavery.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Wow, I was not expecting that. That was something different.
I've known him long enough. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Interesting. Okay.
Dog, he's always been that way. Like, dog, what happened with that? That'll be his answer. Just no real reason. It's just But what you got for us?
Yeah, that's hilarious. I'm actually gonna go in a completely different direction. We usually don't get that serious at the top of the show, and I'll try to be brief. But I just want to let people know, especially non-Black people that could possibly be listening. It's just that we're tired. Like, other than George Floyd, we kind of got a break from the police killing Black people. We kind of got a break from it because of COVID, but it's like, as time is going on, we're back in full effect with the constant we're getting a mass shooting like every day, it seems like now. And, we got the young kid that was killed by police in Chicago. We got, what's his name, Deontay Wright in Minnesota, while the Derek Chauvin trial is going on in Minnesota. The officer claimed that she was reaching for a taser. She thought she had her taser. And then you got the brother that we just learned about. This actually happened in December. We're just now learning about it in the military. And that video was so hard for me to watch, man, because that dude was so calm. And at one point he even says, I'm afraid to get out of my vehicle. And this public servant, this protect and serve person who's here to serve us says, yeah, you better be. What is that to say? What is that? And so not every police shooting is the same. And sometimes I catch flack for the ones that I don't back up that may kill a Black person, like the brother in Atlanta last year. I don't want to paint the officer that killed a young kid in Chicago a certain way.
The 13-year-old.
Yes.
That one. Yeah. Same way here.
I know everybody wants to just put them all in the same category, but what I will say is, while I don't agree with that crowd, I understand. We're sick and tired. It's always us. And then you look at other videos and you see a 61-year-old white man drag an officer on his pickup truck while hitting him with a hammer, and he lives to tell about it. I've seen a video where a kid was high on mushrooms, goes into a police precinct, fights like 3 or 4 of them. They just wrestle him and wind up arresting him. He doesn't get shot. We're tired. Like, I'm out of words. I'm out of anger. I'm out of nearly every emotion you can have. We're just tired. And we talked about it on the last episode with Brandon, but it's not so much that police needs reforming. This country needs reforming. We're still way too racist. We still look at Black people too much as a threat. It's got to stop. We got to do something about it. And it's not just a police thing. It's a country thing. We're all in this. We all play a part in it. And that's why we speak so passionately about speaking out against racism, because we jokingly say this too is because of slavery or this too is because of racism. That's because so much of it is. And it sprouts out into all these other different problems, like all these different killings, man. And we sick and tired of it.
Well, man, just piggybacking on that, I don't know if y'all still on This Is Us, but This Is Us has really been hitting home with that, with Randall talking about microaggressions and everything like that, and how even white people that don't think they're racist kind of fall into those tropes. And like his own brother growing up with him was letting things ride and having kind of these microaggressions and racist jokes. But just because, you're my brother and I love you, it's okay. And that happens. So even if you consider yourself an ally, step back and think about what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to start with saying racists aren't necessarily bad people, if that makes sense. And I think that's where people fight it. Because when you put them under that one term, and Kevin had a problem with this, so you calling me racist. Like that, he got more offended by anything rather than at that point he stopped listening to what Randall was saying. But I'm gonna continue what Buff said. So you said one thing where it's just not the police. So are you guys aware what happened in South Carolina with Sergeant First Class Jonathan Pentland, where he was harassing a young man who was walking through his neighborhood?
Yes.
Luckily, nothing really escalated, but they were videotaped. But the beauty of it was the way the Black community responded. Basically, they, he's not supposed to be here, but we're here now. So they set up shop in his yard. And of course, he played the woe is me, and he went on Facebook saying, it's racism against white people and all that stuff. But I was happy the way the Black community responded. But I guess the only good news to to a certain extent was there was a former Buffalo police officer who stopped a fellow police officer for choking a black man.
And they fired her. They fired her
in 2006. And went through a lot of hell in the police force, was ostracized. And a few months before she was able to retire and receive her pension in 2008, they fired her. And so she filed a lawsuit against I want to say in 2012 against Buffalo police, the union, and recently won her case. And she lost the case. They reopened it and she was able to get her pension, and they're back paying her from, I think, August 2010. But once again, it was just so sad because they were trying to justify the amount of force the officer was using. And not to mention the officer was then arrested in 2009, not too long after, and served, I think, a couple of years in federal prison because of police brutality. But that's on a whole nother subject. But just to see, we've been dealing with this. People have still been losing. We talked about black officers stepping up and trying to help call up the bad apple conversation we had the other day. When we do have our good police officers stepping up, they're still being reprimanded. They're still feeling the burn of breaking silence against that blue wall. I'm happy that this young lady is getting her justice and getting what is owed to her because she served 20 to 25 years on the police force. But it's just sad that this is even an issue, you know? Yeah. So I'm happy for her, but it's still just like, this is what happens when you stand up. Yeah. And you were talking about, Razi, that, you know, is it breaking the blue wall of silence? I think it's one of those things where people had to speak up on George Floyd because they wanted to be on the right side of history. You know, this is not the sword you die on. Whether they believe it was right or wrong, like it wasn't just benevolent or altruistic. Let me go. This is wrong. Let me speak up. I think a lot of it was like, shit, I got to say something. I don't want. Everybody's seen the tape. Bro, I can't.
Even Rush Limbaugh had a problem with it.
Yeah, I can't. I can't fight this one. Like, you know, it's because once again, like nothing else we've seen before, this was a 9-minute execution. It wasn't, I was scared and I mistaken my gun for a taser. And it's just.
And by the way, while I don't blame the officer fully that killed a 13-year-old boy, notice I said boy. You hear me, Sean Hannity? Not a 13-year-old man. That's part of the problem, too. They like to age us, make us more mature, more stronger, more scarier than we really are. Even though he wasn't even black, but still. And
he was half black. And they found out.
Okay. And even the police union president or chief or whatever, like just calling him a thug with tattoos, like, come on, man. It's a better way to discuss things.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, they have to demonize the person because it's all in how you write it up, right? It's you have to spin it so that you get ready for court, right? And that's the thing. They immediately go into, okay, how do I defend this mode?
Yes.
Because you know, with the military officer, right? Mm-hmm. I saw some articles that were calling him a medic. I'm like, he's not a medic because there is no medics as an officer. But I ain't even gonna go into all of that. And that kind of made me mad. But like there's an extended video of the body cam video. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where the officer is trying to explain to him why they did it and everything. And even in that, I'm like, he was automatically into like spin mode. And he's like, well, you know why I did this? This didn't have to go this way. If you had just complied, then, you know, it wouldn't have went this way, blah, 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 blah. He, like, as dude is like holding an ice pack over his head, trying to, you know, get his bearings. You're trying to kind of explain to him on the body camera why this happened and everything. So you're setting yourself up to be ready to go to court and say, here, you know, here's why I did it.
I mean, I think it's human nature. When you're in too deep, it's like you just go all the way. You just commit. You know, I think we've all done it on smaller scales in life.
Yeah, when you get caught cheating and stuff, you be like, baby, it wasn't me. Like, yeah, look, it happens.
I think
that's what I hear. I've never been caught cheating.
When you're wrong, like, you're going to be all the way wrong. Like, even just watching these, even watching Chauvin is like, at this point, because once you turn or change your actions, that means you realize that you were wrong. And now they can say, okay, you were wrong. So if you stick with it, it's like, I thought I was right the whole time. I didn't see anything wrong with what I was doing. That's why I kept doing it. And I feel like this is what these officers doing. Like, they're so wrong that they can't turn back now. It's like you got to go full in, which usually results in death or something like that because dead men don't talk. And it's just sad, man. Razi, go get my goddaughter so she can cheer us up with a joke or something. I'm already pissed off and we ain't even asked the question yet.
Yeah, I made it all serious and stuff. That's my bad.
All right, hold on.
Hey, Sophie.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hello. How's it going?
Nothing.
It's going nothing. All right. You got a good joke for us today?
Yes.
You doing anything special this weekend that I should be aware of?
I know what my joke is gonna be.
Okay, you're just going to glance over my question. Okay. What's your joke?
How much does a chimney cost?
A chimney?
A chimney. Hold on, give me a second.
Chimney.
2 stacks.
Yeah.
Chimney sweep.
Does anybody have a guess?
Give me a second, Sophie. Patience. I know this one. 100. I got nothing, Sophie.
You don't got nothing?
Nothing. What you got?
Nothing. It's on the house.
Oh. That's pretty good.
It's on the house.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well done. I thought it was
done.
like a
Touche. That might be one of your best ones yet.
Yeah.
That might be. That's a good one.
I have another one for next week.
All right.
Okay.
Keep them coming. That was
Right.
excellent, Sophie. That was excellent. Bye. Go ahead and take all the credit for it, Razi. Come on. Steal your daughter's done
No.
That was a
She
good one.
picked it. She picked
That was
it.
a good one. I could tell.
I just curate.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, which one do you want?
That was pretty good, man.
All right, fellas. Me and Buff start off very serious today. So, Razi, I want to start with you. Can you bring us back to something less serious, or are you going to jump into seriousness too?
Nah. I'm gonna
go where you want to go. I'm just saying. I'm just in a mood right now, and mine's gonna be draining.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll go. Since I started off talking about dating and all of that, and
you started off talking about how you ain't.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but or I guess lack of dating is probably the better way of it. Is because I'm generally not dating, and so it never gets to that point. But anyway, what my question was, hearing all these stories from my homegirl that was talking about all these ain't niggas, is I want to know y'all's worst date ever. And why was it a date? So it doesn't have to be, it could be with your wives now or whatever, and it just happened to be a bad date. I know, like, you talk about like your Daryl Frisco's thing and all of that when you had to go to the fight night or whatever. Byron, was that time? So, what was your worst date ever?
Winter Formal, 1997.
Damn, he had that loaded in the chamber.
I will not use names in this situation. But it started off all bad.
What happened?
So, first of all, it was Winter Formal, high school. The IKs, we had just crossed fall 96. IKs were putting on the Winter Formal. And I had a girlfriend at the time who I didn't even invite to the dance. Because she went to a whole other school. And I wanted to invite another IKet, and I actually had a little crush on this one young lady, so I invited her. She said yes. We were gonna go. As a group date. I was gonna rent a car, but first of all, it started off bad because I had to deal with my girlfriend being mad at me for taking another chick to the Winter Formal. Yeah, you know how I do. So we're planning for the Winter Formal. the week or two before the winter form, I've been saving up my nickels and dimes. I was going to get a rental car. She's like, we want to get a limo. So it's me, her friends, the twins. I can use the other names, right?
Well, no, because then it kind of gives away the name.
Okay. It's me, her, and 3 of our homegirls and some of my homeboys and all this stuff. So we're supposed to go in on a limo because somebody had to hook up on a limo. This came out the blue, so I decided to put it on a limo. The day of the winter formal, I get a message that she doesn't want to ride in a limo anymore, and I've already put money in. So she gonna meet us there. I never wanted to ride in a limo no damn way. So we meet up at the one house. Everybody but me and my date. Well, I meet up there to get in the limo. My date meets us at the winter formal. Her mom takes her. So we get to the dance. She is just not being very social that night. So she refuses to dance with me and everything. So of course, me being me, I dance with other people. I'm having fun. And she's mad at me for dancing with other people. This is how I remember. I can't say these are all facts. It's just the way I interpret it. She can correct me if I'm wrong. But she gets mad at me for dancing with other people. So after the winter formal, we were supposed to go out to eat with the rest of the IKs. And then there was an after party at somebody else's house. So by this time, the limo's paid for. We kicked in extra money. We're like, look, just ride with us to go get dinner. The limo's paid for. No, she wants to call her mother. This is 1997. Nobody got cell phones or anything. Call her mother. Her mother has to come all the way to pick her up. So we had to wait on her mom to get there just so she can trail us to O'Charlie's. I remember this, O'Charlie's. We get to O'Charlie's. I'm pissed. I'm livid by this point because we were supposed to meet the IKs there. By the time we got there, they were leaving. So we get there, offer to pay for her dinner. She just, everything about it. She offered to pay for her dinner. She doesn't want to pay for my dinner. To pay for her dinner. Like, everything was wrong. The other people I was dancing with at the winter formal were giving me a little more, attention, which I feel like I probably picked the wrong person. So they leave for the after party. After we eat, it's almost the end of our limo thing. And all the people I could have rode to the party with were gone. So now we're just trying to ride back to the house. We have to wait on her mother once again to come pick her up. So I'm in the limo pissed. I'm cussing, fussing, and guys might not know I have a little temper, but I'm trying to be cool. When I say it was just like everything that could go wrong that night went wrong that night. Then I had to get back. As soon as I get back in the house, the phone rings and my girlfriend's mad. So of course I snap on her because I was.
Ferg, you did have a girlfriend and you took a different girl.
That is besides the point. Formal. That is besides because she was our kid and we were taking our kids and my girlfriend wasn't very social and she didn't know anybody and all this stuff. I paid for it.
I paid that was karma right there, bro. That was karma.
I paid for it. But it was just, I want to talk to her mom and everything. Like, look, she can ride with us. I'm sorry you had to come out here. And she's like, it's up to her. I haven't been to O'Charlie since then.
Oh man, you missing what are those rolls?
Yeah.
Don't they have
I don't think
yeast rolls or whatever?
I've only been there once in my life. So
I've been there once and it was horrible.
Or is that like the rye bread? I don't know. Like which one?
Whatever it was, I don't remember. I don't even think you're just so mad you really don't even want to eat. Like I was just annoyed. And back then I was really I got annoyed really easily. So I don't remember. And everybody in the limo, I think I spoiled their night. Everybody was trying to calm me down. They're like,
I can only imagine riding in the limo with you. How did I not get in that limo? I think I drove the expedition.
Were you grounded?
Probably.
I was gonna say you probably on punishment.
No, because you stepped. I remember that.
Yeah, because I stepped at it. So yeah.
I don't know if we were that cool back then. I don't know if we were cool because this is like
we had pledge. We got real cool pledging.
Yeah, but I mean, we weren't cool like we were now. I mean, like we get cool to probably like March, April because we pledged because you didn't make it to the crossover party, so we got cool, but we weren't hanging like we did until probably after the winter formal or something like that. Or I don't know how we got cool like that, but it's
step practice. I think leading up to that is probably why we got cool. Like step practice for winter formal, probably. Yeah, that's true. So. Buff, what about you, man? What was the worst date ever?
So about 12 years ago, I'm still relatively new to this area, even though I've been up here a while. But we had just moved to the location we're in now. And I pride myself on trying to plan nice birthdays for the missus. And this particular year, I thought I had it all together. I'm like, man, the previous year she took me to this winery and got me some wine. We both enjoyed it for my birthday. So we talked about it throughout the year. So I wound up going to get a bottle of that wine. And I'm like, I'm going to take her out. I'm going to be like chauffeuring her. She's going to be back there sipping her wine. I got her the wine she loved and everything. She just kicked back. I'm going to take care of everything. I got this. Boom. Going to be another great birthday. Well, the first stop was the movies, and we went to go see District 9. Now, she is a huge fan of the Alien franchise, Aliens, okay? And I had been told, and through research and reading up, that this was similar to one of those movies.
No.
I was going to say, I don't know what y'all think about this movie, but it sucked. It was awful, man. I think at one point, I may be making this up. I think she may even say, "What made you choose this movie?" And it was like a nut. Like, God damn. Do you want to go? She's like, no, we here. We can see if it gets better. It didn't get better.
Man, that's always horrible.
Okay, so I'm like, strike one. I'm like, bet. So again, I'm relatively new to this area. So this is just poor planning, looking back on it now. For those of you that live in the DMV area, we're in Manassas, Virginia. Okay, the movies was in Centerville. We're leaving from Centerville, Virginia to go to, I forget what part of Maryland it's in. But it's a long ways to this Dave and Buster's. And this was like before Dave and Buster's was everywhere. Like Dave and Buster's everywhere now. But this is like if you had a Dave and Buster's in your area, you felt exclusive. So I'm like, take her there. You know, we like to play games because we had fun at the ESPN Zone one New Year's Eve. Great time. So I was like, bet. We go there. Man, the traffic was so thick, dog. Like it almost made us just want to turn around and call it a day. So the traffic wouldn't cooperate. We finally get there. While we did have a good time playing the games, the food at Dave & Buster's, I'm sorry if this is your joint, people, and you like it, the food is awful.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Dave is. I mean, it's like Tyson's frozen food that you put in the oven. It's terrible. So that was awful, and it's overpriced, and it was just bad. It's probably some more details I'm leaving out, dog, but it was bad. I don't even think she loved the idea of being chauffeur. I think she thought that was stupid or maybe corny or dumb. I don't know. It just was terrible. It was one of my worst birthday plans ever. And two bonus stories. One, our friend James Finley, back when we used to rap, he has a song. He has a verse on the song we call Playing Tricks on Me. So if you are privy to listening to that song, pay attention to his verse because he talks about
James Finley, baby.
Oh. I done forgot the other bonus story laughing at those.
Can we get an excerpt from that, Razi? Can you just play like 5 seconds?
I'll play that whole song.
No, because he hasn't given us permission.
Oh yeah. No, he did. He did give Razi permission. Remember? That came up about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The subject of said song. Oh man, I wish I could remember the other bonus story. I'm sorry, y'all, but yeah, that was awful. And Tab, sorry. You know I try my best. I failed on that one.
Razi, what you got?
So it wasn't a date in my eyes. And that was, I guess, was part of the issue why it was such a bad date. But so to protect the names of the innocent, we're gonna just call this young lady Robin. Okay. So, you know, I'm chilling in Mobile, and so I meet up with Robin. First of all, like I say, okay, all right, hey, I'm downtown. What's up? Where you want to meet or whatever? She's like, all right, there's a spot at the Battle House. Cool. So we go to the spot at the Battle House. I'm looking for a spot.
It's recent.
I'm looking for a spot, right? And I finally park, and I'm like, all right, where you at? She's like, I'm at the spot right by the Battle House. So, like, if anybody knows the Battle House, there's like two restaurants. There's like the little
the Mardi Gras, was it Joe's?
Like the Mardi Gras spot, yeah, Joe's spot, and then there's like the little like bar type spot, right, right, and they're right next to each other. So I go in the bar spot and look around. I don't see her. So I'm like, okay. I call her, and she's like, no, I'm in the other spot. So all right, I walk over to the other spot, and then I'm like, I ain't really feeling it over here. It's like the way it's set up, you know, the whole, I had to have my back to the door, and I ain't feel that. She was like, well, you want to swing around? And I was like, yeah. So we switched seats, and then she was like, well, I ain't feeling this. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go back over to the other spot, because, you know, they got couches and all that stuff. So we leave her, walk out, we walk into the other spot, and she's like, oh, man, I ordered a drink and we just walked out on them folks. I'm like, oh, well, ain't got nothing to do with us. So we ordered drinks there. And then, you know, we just get some food or whatever. And we just chatting it up. And then she's like, you know, talking about it. And then like date slips out of her mouth. And I'm like, no, I didn't think this was a date. I just thought we were just kind of like, you know, kicking it. I'm in town or whatever. Let's catch up or whatever. So that was kind of an awkward moment. And so she was like, oh, so this ain't a date? All right, bet. And so she was like, I guess she's kind of like got some in her teeth while she was eating a salad. So she pulls out like some floss, and she like starts flossing her teeth. And then she's like, yeah, if it was a date, I would have went to the bathroom. But since this ain't a date, I'm just going to get this out of my teeth. And so she flosses her teeth right in front of me. and then after she flosses the teeth, or whatever, she pulls out the mirror, checks herself or whatever, and I'm like, all right, whatever, you know, it ain't a date, cool, whatever, it's good. And then she gets a call from a homegirl that's like, hey, I've been calling my dad for like 10 minutes, he ain't picking up, can you go check on my dad? And I'm like, oh, you gotta go, cool, whatever. She was like, hey, can you ride with me, because I'm scared, I don't know what I'm gonna walk into or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so I get in the car with her, and we drive like 35 minutes to the other side of Mobile to where her dad is, to the girl's dad. Girl's calling like instantly, like back to back to back, like, have y'all made it? Have y'all made it? Have y'all made it? We get there, we pull up, and it's an old guy like outside working on his car. And so I get out, and I'm like, hey, you know, is this the address or whatever? And then he's like, what? Looking at me like he about to like square up with me or whatever, because I'm asking him like the address or whatever. And so then Robin jumps out the car, and she's like, hey, are you whatever her friend's name, Dad? And he's like, yeah. And then she was like, your daughter's been trying to call you, and you know, she was worried about you. And he was like, well, she was supposed to call me yesterday, and she ain't called me, so I wasn't picking up for her today. So literally, he had just been ignoring her call because he was salty from the day before. So awesome. Robin puts the girl on the phone, and the girl's sitting there like boohoo crying while like, why would you do this to me, Dad? And the dad is just looking at her like, well, you didn't call me, blah, 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 blah. And we sit there for like 20 minutes while they fuss with each other. Robin's sitting there holding the phone on FaceTime with a girl and her daddy fussing. And I'm just sitting there for like 20 minutes in the car watching them the entire time that they're fussing. So then she finally hangs up, gets back in the car, and we got to drive all the way back to downtown because my car was down there because I didn't know how far it was. And so we just sitting in silence like the whole way back, like what just happened. And then we get in the car, she drops me back off of my car, and I'm like, all right, then, we'll see you later. And I get in the car and I just drive off. So weirdest date ever. And she actually said, because she listens to the show, she's like, you're going to use this on the show, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's just like comedians when things happen, they're gonna use it in their routine.
So that was wild. It was the worst undate I've ever been on. But actually, I laughed and joked about it at the end, and I was like, you watch like Hitch and stuff like that, and those are the best dates.
Yeah,
that's how folks like hit it off or whatever, and they have memories. So you never know.
I thought of that bonus one, by the way. This too is not like really a date, but it surrounds a movie again. Waiting to Exhale had came out, and I forgot how many of us went. I just remember the three of us. I'm seated in a seat. I'm not gonna name names. The young lady is sitting next to me, and my homeboy is sitting next to her. So it's the three of us. She's in the middle, and I was rubbing on her thigh, and all of a sudden, I feel another hand, and it's him rubbing on her thigh, and we wind up when you move your goddamn hands.
That's a middle school type.
It is.
And the thing about it, I feel like I know everybody. I feel like I know everybody involved.
You do.
No, I feel like I already know who it is. Like if I had to guess,
that's my other one.
Okay, let me give my other honorable mention, since we keep going back, is Summer of the Red, Razi, Summer 2000.
Oh yeah.
Where I almost I'm going to a movie. Just got out of a relationship. So me and Razi decide to go on a double date with a young lady and her friend. We go to said movie theater, and I'm enjoying myself, but it just felt kind of weird. This is the first real date I had been on since my breakup with my previous girlfriend. So I'm actually walking the young lady to the car and kind of thinking about, you know what, this didn't feel right. Maybe I should call my ex and just, talk to her. As I'm walking this young lady to a car, I see headlights and screeching tires. And all I know is 2 seconds later, I am face to face with a large vehicle. Basically, the person almost ran me over and decided to slam on the brakes at the last minute to stop from running me over.
I thought you were going for it. Like I was like, it was like slow motion. I was walking behind you like, no.
Bruh, I see how a deer in headlights is real, bruh. Like it was just like, nigga, it's over. And so when the vehicle stops, me and the young lady exchange words. The police officer comes over and is, of course, less than pleased with my actions and is, I think, almost about to call back up and like had her hand on her gun and all kind of stuff because I'm pretty upset because I almost was physically assaulted with a motor vehicle. Like Razi has to drag me to the car because I'm heated.
I see how people have DVs after stuff like that. Like you were that hot. Like you probably would have got a DV.
Like I was heated. It was just a misunderstanding. The thing about it is I was on a date. Decided that the date didn't go the way I wanted. I was actually about to call the young lady who almost assaulted me with the motor vehicle. And lo and behold, she was already there. And the rest of the night was a blur because when someone seeing red, I saw red. But I think I did a good job of protecting names. Did I do a good job protecting names?
Yeah. Unless they know you, they don't know who it was. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was another really bad date. Not even because of the person I was on a date with. That's all I got for dates.
My topic is serious. I don't know if you want to go light. Like if you have a light subject.
Go serious.
Okay, we'll go serious. Okay. All right. So, I don't want to frame this. So we know a few weeks ago, someone stopped. What was it, like 3 different locations in Atlanta at the different spas?
Yeah, the spas.
And targeted Asian Americans, and of course the whole stop Stop Asian Hate hashtag began trending and people were speaking out against it. I want to know, we at the truth table right now, fellas, don't say what's politically correct. I want to know, as Black people, did you have any, like, we all know it was wrong. Like, let's get that out the way. The obviously is wrong. But did you have any, like, I'm just going to peek out the window on this one right here with, the whole speaking out against hatred towards Asian Americans? Because I know I don't want to speak for you guys. I know when I've spoken to fellow Black people, they've spoken about bad experiences at Asian stores, Asian-owned stores, with Asians personally, feeling like they don't really speak up too often when, racism comes our way. We all know about the Latasha Harlan thing in L.A. back in the early 90s when a young girl was killed over a $2 bottle of orange juice when she had the money in her hand, but the Asian lady thought she was trying to steal it. All she got was probation for it. During the riots, they were, literally targeting and shooting Black people for, I guess, attempting to riot their stores or whatever like that. So I just want to know if you guys had any reservations at all, while knowing, yes, it was wrong. I need to say that again. I can't say that enough. Obviously, it was wrong. We spoke on that when it first happened. But were you conflicted at all, or do you understand any confliction with some Black people saying, well, I think it's wrong, but I'm going to be a little silent on this one? Or are you like, no, all racism is bad. We got to speak up no matter who the victim is, what race the victim is?
You want to go first, Ferg, or you want me?
It doesn't matter. I'll take it.
I'll jump in.
Go. Jump in. Go.
All right. So for now, yeah, because right after it happened, I'm the one that brought it up on the show and did the moment of silence for the victims and everything. So
well deserved, by the way. It was deserved.
Yeah. But I think your question's a two-part question. So I'll take the do I understand the silence or the folks that's just gonna peek out the window? Definitely. I mean, the thing is, sometimes you have to protect your energy, and you can't expend it on every little thing. Or not to say it was little, but everything that comes up, you just can't expend your energy on. So if it's something that is removed from you a little bit, and you just don't have the energy to give at that moment, then don't give that energy. So I definitely understand it. And I don't mind that folks choose not to. But for me, like you said about if it's racism, I'm going to speak out about it. Whether it's racism against Asian Americans, African Americans, even against whites. Like I think one of the latest shootings, police shootings, was a white kid. I can't remember where. So you call out wrong when you see wrong, regardless. And so, like, for me, I have the energy right now to do it. And we have the platform to do it. So I'm definitely going to do it. And so I'm going to speak out against Asian American hate, Jewish American hate, Black American, African American hate, whatever it is. I'm going to fight against racism and hatred at any point that I can. The LGBTQ community, like, you can't pick and choose when you want to be righteous and when you want to be good. If you want to be righteous and you want to be good, you got to do it all the time. That doesn't mean that you have to speak out against stuff, but you personally need to be what you're going to be. And that's how, I live my life and make sure that I'm doing and staying on the right path. So that's all I got, man.
So maybe this is more the answer you were looking for, Buff. I went through a myriad of emotions, like I'm like Razi. I'm going to call out white supremacy and hatred anywhere. I think that's what we are here to do. That's what we have the platform to do, and we need more of that. But back to your earlier point, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Like, I'm so tired of being tired and frustrated. And white supremacy anywhere, hate anywhere is bad. And I feel for the Asian community. Like, nobody should have to put up with it. But what got to me is the fact that it turned into like, so what are the black people going to do about it? Like, how did this become about us? Like, how did this become about us? It's not that we want to sit this one out. Like, we're there for you, but we can't, we're tired of marching for the things that directly affect us already. And now you want us, people are mad at us when we march. They're mad at us when we get loud, but they're even madder because we didn't march and get loud for Asian Americans. I'm like, you don't want us to do it, but now you want us to do it. You know, I saw a post where like I didn't see any posts about against stop Asian hate, stop all hate. It was just stop Asian hate. That's fine. It's just kind of, it's maybe the selfishness of me or the reality of being black in America. Just, it hurt my heart to see like you're willing to, even if you're not willing to support the Asian community for the rest of the world or whatever, you're not downing their fight or their plight like you do ours. They identified a group and they gave you an action, a call to arms, and nobody had anything negative to say about it. We did the exact same thing with Black Lives Matter, and we're a cult, we're a terrorist group, and all this stuff. And it's like, why can't we just address the elephant in the room? Like, why is it about us? And we're talking about the conversation has been more about Asian hate and why black people aren't supporting it rather than stopping white supremacy. That should be what the we're talking about. It shouldn't be are black people speaking up for Asians, or you only care when it's about you? No, stop white supremacy. Like that is not the conversation. It's stopping white supremacy. So now we're the bad guys. All of a sudden, the black community has become the bad guys in the situation for not speaking up loud enough, rather than the people who are causing the harm. And it's just disheartening. It's like, I'm tired. Now I got to fight for not fighting. And you're right. There is some confusion. There is some we're not honestly the best terms with the Asian community as a whole. I think there are some stereotypes that we all have, but I think it's natural to have stereotypes. It is what it is. You know, the world is what it is. We're not trying to be perfect, but I don't think our stereotypes are as damning to each other. Like you said, you mentioned a case in the 90s, those things happen. But what we're seeing happen more times than not is there's a common denominator, and it's white supremacy, and we're not calling that out. They're not getting the attention they deserve. It's always how we react, what we say, or how we don't react, rather than why is there a need for stop Asian hate? Why is there a need for all Black Lives Matter? So I'm just tired, man. I hope I'll answer your question.
Yeah, man. You said a lot, especially the whole, you see stop Asian hate, but you don't see stop all hate, like as a rebuttal to that. I can be brief because you guys covered so much of it, man. But, you know, I'm not going to say I was conflicted, but I did, you know, I think I just stood back and I just wanted to watch. And my hope is, because in my opinion can be wrong, but in my opinion, I have felt like far too often there are some Asians that cozied up to white supremacy and aligned themselves with it and wanted to be close to that power structure that is white supremacy, and perhaps didn't speak up enough when it came to racism against blacks, perhaps did partake in treating us just as bad as our white counterparts at times. One of my favorite movie of all time, Menace to Society. Let me say that again, because I know some people probably raised their eyebrows at that. Yes, Menace to Society is my favorite movie of all time. The opening scene speaks to that dynamic, the whole conflict between Black and Asian Americans. So while it's wrong, I wanted to talk about a difficult subject that is true, and that there are some Black people that, yeah, we fight against white supremacy. It is wrong. And what happened definitely was, you know, ugly and wrong. But, you know, we can use your support going forward. And hopefully, sometimes tragedy wakes people up. And hopefully this woke some that may have been conflicted on defending Black people and saying, you know what? Yes, we got to fight against, this supremacist structure that we have in this country. And it shouldn't take something as extreme as George Floyd to get people to mobilize and unite. Anytime there is unfair treatment. And we mostly talk about the murders and the unarmed shootings. We hadn't even got into redlining and all the other different things that go against us, unfair practices on a daily basis in this country. So I hope we gained an ally. If we already had them as an ally, I hope we gained a louder, more vocal, stronger ally in the Asian community. And I just wanted to talk about that, man, because I felt like it was difficult, but I wanted to touch on it. And of course, as usual, you guys came through.
Well, your question is kind of a perfect segue into my question. So I think all of us have been in careers or positions where we're very comfortable with weapons, right? Guns and stuff. There was a point in time where I think it was like 6-7 months that Razi and I slept with M16s, Byron, you being a capital city police officer, you're trained and comfortable with your weapon. So with all these police killings and mass shootings have been running rampant, you would think that we are getting closer to tighter gun laws, right? It would just seem like it makes sense. Well, my great state of Texas does it again. So the Texas House approves a bill that would allow people to carry a gun without a license. So it is in the provisional stages. So House Bill 1927 would nix the requirement for Texas residents to obtain a license to carry handguns if they're not prohibited by state or federal law from possessing a gun. As of now, just like other states, to carry a gun, you have to be licensed, concealed or open carry. But the Texas House has approved a bill that will allow handguns to be carried without a permit. In 2021, this is real, where we're really just going that far where we're allowing people to just everybody walk around with a gun. I don't know if it's going to be concealed or just open carry for handguns, which I think is way more dangerous than open carry for like a rifle or something like that can't be concealed. What are your thoughts on this? What does this look like to you as far as gun laws and gun rights, and more specifically as a Black man? Now that every officer can assume that you're carrying, if this goes national, that every officer can assume that a Razi or Byron has a gun on them. Like, it's because now it's an assumption. Your cell phone holder, a case that looks like a gun, gives him more assumption that you're carrying. What are your thoughts, fellas?
So I'm not one of those ones that feel like the more guns you have, the safer the community is, or whatever the saying is. I mean, I do think, people should be allowed to own guns, but to carry them everywhere you go, to open carry them everywhere you go, I think that's a disaster. I mean, we've seen with our own eyes what happens with trained police officers and how they make mistakes. Now, just picture Joe Blow, with a gun on his hip, and let's say something bad does happen, right? Let's say a mass shooting breaks out. A lot of people say, if we had open carry where there'd be a lot less mass shootings. Okay, let's say a mass shooting breaks out. Who's going to tell who's the bad guy and who's the good guy? There's so much confusion during shootings. Everybody's in regular clothes. You don't know who is, the bad guy. It's true chaos to me. And I don't I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I know that drives some Second Amendment people crazy, but I just think it causes a lot more chaos, and that's not even getting into the dynamic you bring up, Ferg, with cops being able to say, that whole I thought he had a gun. That can be that gives them more credibility now. You know what I mean? So it gives them more reason to have their hand on the gun, more reason to have their finger on the trigger. I get that people want to be able to defend themselves. I do get that. Trust me, I do. But you just got to honestly think. Like, I think last show, Ferg, you said voters are dumb. Americans, by and large, are dumb. And you want them carrying
or
weapons?
Unsophisticated.
No, they're dumb. Okay. So like we still have a large percentage of this country that can't name the 3 branches of government. So you want them to carry guns? Like, not a good idea to me. Not to me.
Yeah. Like my thing is, a lot of those folks that talk about that whole good guy with a gun in a mass shooting situation have never been in a firefight. They've never been shot at before. They've never seen, like you said, the chaos that comes of that. The running and the ducking and trying to look for cover, and maybe you can get a good shot. What you gonna do? You just gonna stand up and start shooting this dude, and like you it's not at the range. It's not like you can assume a good stance and shoot back at this guy. Like that one, that's dumb if you are and you ain't got no plates in and you ain't got no body armor in, and you trying to stand up like you at the range and get you a good sight picture to try to shoot at the dude. So if you're not getting a good sight picture and you're not actually aiming at him, what you doing? You just firing wild around that guy. You don't know what you like Byron, you were talking about, how you got to know what's behind the person too when you shoot. Like these untrained folks, they think they're trained because they know how to shoot. Yeah, you know how to aim and you know how to shoot. That doesn't mean you know how to actually engage in battle. Yeah. Those are 2 totally different things. Yeah. Go ahead, Buff.
Those are non-moving targets at the range. In real life, nobody stands there like a target to say, "Damn, center mass right here."
We've all been trained in live fire situations. There's one thing shooting, and there's live fire situations. It's who's an enemy, who's safe, who's like. Continue, Razi. I'm sorry.
And I'll tell you, I was going to say, Razi brought up another point. Good Samaritan. Let's say a guy had great intentions. Okay, he wants to take out the mass shooter, but he makes a mistake and hits my daughter, or hits your son, or whatever. Is he held accountable? He was trying to do a good thing. Like, is he going to be held liable, or is it like, hey,
Good Samaritan law. Yeah, he was trying to stop a shooter, so he's fine.
Yeah. So go ahead, Razi.
Yeah. So like all of that, man. Like so I agree. Home defense is fine, or whatever. I am a Second Amendment, nut. But my thing is, I agree with the whole Second Amendment, right? The well-regulated militia part. Like you can have a gun in there. Like you can have a gun in your home. You should be able to. But don't act like we don't regulate now. And don't act like we don't already outlaw machine guns. Don't act like we don't outlaw rocket launchers and stuff like that. You got to have a collector's license or stuff like that. Like this law puts so many more people in danger, and it puts a lot of police officers in danger because now everybody can walk around with a gun. Like Ferg, you said, now they have to assume everybody has a gun because they just don't know. Like, I mean, they right now, because it's a little bit harder. I mean, and everybody talk about the whole bad guys don't follow laws. Bad guys don't follow laws, but the laws make it hard for them to do bad things. Don't act like laws don't make it a little bit more difficult for them to do it. When you outlaw guns, it's harder for the bad guys to get guns. It's harder for them, and you can make more harsh penalties for when that gun's outlawed if that person does have that thing. It's a lot easier for you to put them in jail and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier for you to hold the bad guys accountable when it's outlawed. But when you just don't know, when you have to make assumptions, when you have to just go in with this hypervigilance as a police officer because you don't know, and it's so openly easy. Like I'm surprised the police unions aren't against this bill. Like, and that baffles me a lot of times that police unions and police officers don't actually support gun control. Like that, but we kind of know why that is. I mean, because there's so many like not necessarily, I'm not going to call them racist, but there are people that think conservatives. We'll just put it like that. There's a lot of conservatives in the police force.
Well, you said conservatism is racism once, so.
Conservatism is racism. But a conservative isn't racist. I think that is a very, very fine line. But that's how we were talking about that whole Kevin thing. It's like you might not necessarily be racist, but the things that you support and the things that the systems that you're trying to hold in place are racist. So that's why, I look at that differentiation. So if anybody thinks I'm calling conservatives racist, I am not. What I'm saying is conservatism is racism.
That's not how Fox News is going to see it.
I know they're going to spin it. That's fine. If I make Fox News on that quote,
Mama,
bro,
we
I
made it. Yeah.
I know.
There's a couple of things here. First of all, when you were talking about the bad guys, people aren't bad until they commit the crime. A lot of times I think people think all criminals are just happen to be bad guys. These mass shooters usually have little to no criminal record.
Yep.
So these are the people who are getting the guns that you're defending. It's the people who are robbing banks and doing armed robbery and burglary and stuff like that. I get it. Yeah, those guys are committing crimes. They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. But it's the guy that got picked on in high school who can go into his father's gun cabinet and pull out a AR-15 and commit mass shootings. These guys aren't bad. As a matter of fact, you defend them so adamantly trying to make them not bad guys. Like he was a loner and he was bullied. Like you try to make them not bad guys. And these are the guys that are getting the guns and committing the crimes that we're talking about. That's who we're talking about. That's one. Two, back to live fire situations. It's very hard to determine who's an enemy and who's ally in a firefight. So we were talking about collateral damage as far as somebody friendly fire, you might shoot somebody that's behind them. If we're in a situation and it's 50 people in a closed setting and one person starts shooting and I see another person returning fire and all I heard was gunshots coming from that similar direction, guess what? I have a gun too. Who am I shooting at? All I see is somebody with a weapon shooting or firing coming from that direction. And now I start shooting at them. And guess what? Buff has a weapon. Now he sees me with a weapon. Now we're in a fucking firefight. Like it's 5-6 different people shooting at each other and no one knows who's guilty. Like that's real life. Like there's no uniforms. I see a dude. I heard screaming. I see somebody shooting. I look around. Razi has a weapon. Guess who I'm aiming at? That's
and not even everybody in the same spot, because I feel like there's a lot of these heroes out there that they're gonna run towards the gunfire and run up and see those two people shooting. And like you said, now I definitely don't know who started it, but guess who they're gonna shoot at? They're gonna shoot at the black guy.
Yeah, and then
if it's a black guy and a white guy shooting at each other, even if the white guy started it, they're gonna shoot at the black guy. So because of that unconscious bias.
So going back to your unconscious bias, if I ever fit the description, I'm going to fit the description when I have a gun on me. Black male, black t-shirt with a gun. Byron, what color is your t-shirt?
Black.
My t-shirt's black. Razi, you have black writing. And we all have guns. We all of a sudden fit the description of the guy that just robbed the bank. Now it's so dangerous. It's so, it doesn't matter what you're coming from. Like he had a weapon, I saw a weapon and got shot. Like there's no win-win. And it's happening in Texas. And one of the senators from, a councilman from El Paso is like really adamant about fighting this because of the mass shooting that happened in El Paso a few years ago. And it's just, the police unions are against this. Everybody's against this, but it still made it. And it's just like, in 2021, what are we talking about? There's nothing good that's going to come out of. We're already just trying to calm the gun laws we have now down. And if something like this passes, you mentioned him last week, or maybe Brandon did, something like a Ted Cruz, get something like this passed in Texas, and he takes this and champions this when he runs in 2022, NRA, the Proud Boys, all these conservatives.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a campaign.
Yeah, we mentioned what was that in South Carolina? Now imagine that young boy. I mean, because he looked young. I guess he was a teenager or a young man. But imagine him having a gun, and that white dude. Now he has cause to pull that tool on him. You know what I mean?
And the white boy, and if he had one, guarantee that white guy who was a drill sergeant in the U.S. Army. We talked about racism in the Army, and I don't even want to think about if that's the way he perceives black. Those are the type people he trains. Those are the young. Yeah. That is the age of the average black man he trains in the Army.
Yeah.
And that's how he perceives black people.
You gotta think, he like watching that, he was using his drill sergeant persona when he was talking to that kid. Like if you've ever, we've been through, or if you've ever watched a video of basic training, that was a shark attack. Like that was him being the drill sergeant. Move, I'ma move you. Like that. That's what they tell recruits. Like that was classic drill sergeant coming out of him, trying to make him move. The problem was that kid wasn't in uniform under contract, where if he don't move, he's going to get court-martialed and kicked out of the Army. He didn't care. Like, he didn't have to listen to that dude. So, like, that was wrong on so many levels. But again, with him, I don't know if he's so much racist as he is that unconscious bias, that system is in him. And I am so slow to call people racist, because if it's not overtly racist, they have kind of an out to weasel out of it and say, no, I'm not racist. But the problem is that he still has that unconscious bias of, oh, you don't fit in this neighborhood, you can't walk. But again, if it was a white kid walking down there that he didn't know, it probably would have been no problem.
Razi, it's not racism. It's a stereotype. It's a systematic it is the truth of being white and wrong, white versus wrong in America. That's what it comes down to. When I was talking about earlier how adamantly people defend when it's apparent how wrong they are, but there's a difference in being white and wrong. It's there's no way you can justify leaning on somebody's neck for 9 minutes, but there's a certain level of white that makes that okay. There's a certain level of everything that makes that okay. If you go back to just something as simple as people getting off because of their financial situations, being suffering from affluenza, is a certain level of whiteness that makes their stuff not wrong. So it's not right and wrong. It's literally white and wrong. And it's just sad that we deal with that in America. Because when you look at the situation, and you're just like, he's going to get off. There has rarely been a case when it comes to Black America where we're like, oh, he going to get off. Like we just don't assume that he's going to get off. And we can have half the facts. He said, she said, no videotape. There's probable cause. There could be all kind of loopholes, and people are going to. The Central Park Five got convicted with all kind of loopholes. But we're literally looking at somebody getting their neck kneeled on for 9 minutes, and we think that this guy's going to get off. Like, it's like the justice system is that guilty until proven innocent or beyond a reasonable doubt does not apply when you're looking at the court of white and wrong. So I'm over it. I'm done. What do you fellas have for us? I'm pissed off. I need a drink.
The court of white and wrong. I like that. Man, parting shots. All I gotta say, man, is Alabama may lose a congressional seat. I think there's about a 22,000 person swing they're trying to figure out. So we're really, really close and right on that line of losing the seat. And, you know, I talked about it a little bit when I talked about the census. I hope they lose it. I really do. oh well, Alabama needs to. Like Brandon said, I think Alabama's the only state that's majority conservative or Republican. Everything else is like a little bit, at least a little bit more Democrat.
Mhm.
It's just the way they gerrymander. So I hope they lose it because we talked about it on that census episode. We're not going to lose that one Democratic seat that we have because they have to keep that because of the Civil Rights Act. But other than that, they're going to gerrymander away, and so they're going to lose a Republican seat. So I'm good with it. I hope they lose it.
That's what's up, man. I just want to talk about real quick. I've spoken how I long for the days of the affection from my daughter when I come home from work and she'd run to the door and give me a hug. And even a little bit after that, as soon as I come home, she'd come in my room and tell me all the kindergarten and first grade gossip. Now I get none of that. It's down to my affection now is down to if I'm fixing her an omelet for breakfast. If she comes downstairs and sees me fixing an omelet for breakfast, then I get a hug. So that's pretty much what it's come to as she's getting ready to enter teenage years. So that has nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to share that and just use this platform to say that I miss my little baby because that's all I get now. So guess I'll be making omelets for a while, fellas.
Well, I'm going to end on a lighter note. I want to congratulate all our stock experts, our Wolves of Wall Street, who are making a killing and who are breaking the bank off this Dogecoin. What is it? How do you pronounce it?
Are they doing
Dogecoin?
I thought it was Doge. Is it Doge?
Exactly.
Is Dogecoin?
Yeah.
I thought it was Doge.
Nobody knows. It's DOG. Yeah, DOG.
Yeah.
Because they are flooding my timeline like it is the second coming of Christ. Congratulations. All I would say is make your money, get out before it's too late. But it's just been hilarious to hear everybody speculate and all of a sudden everybody's a stockbroker. It's gonna be very interesting to see. So good luck. I hope you make your money off it. I missed it. I'm not mad at it. There'll be something else, but congrats. Make your money.
Yeah, get that money.
That's it.
As Razi would say, though, don't get caught holding the bag.
Don't get caught holding the bag because there's gonna be a lot of people.
Caught, yeah.
That's how it works. Somebody has to lose for everybody to. Everybody can't win. So, Three Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.